Hey, whoever this is, I made a voting app. So here we go. I made this in Typescript, but the logic should carry over to whatever you're trying to make. Um, yeah, this is just for reading environment variables. Express is just for bringing in requests. Cores and helmet is security. Item router is for what we're going to be actually making. This is for reading in certain requests. And then these are just some extra security that I found online. I literally just copied and pasted. So if I think you might be able to do the same if you're actually using TypeScript as well. So here we're reading in our environment variable, setting up to port, starting Express, using those security stuff, saying that Express is going to accept JSON, and this is where we're setting up our router. Well, we're starting off our router, and we start listening. So now we're accepting information. So now we go to our router. Um, these are just objects that I made. We'll look over them in a bit. So yeah, you have your basic stuff. You're gonna get all the items, get by ID, so this would return 1. So in each of these, it's going to access item service and then call a function and then perform some action, and then we're going to return something. Cool. We also have one for post. This is for creating an item. So since this is voting, you're going to see the basic structure in a second, but it's this is creating a whole voting topic. Cool. So this is for actual voting. This is just going to increment one of the options in one of those categories to 1, to an additional one. And here we update the whole object of one category. So if you mess something up, this is how you would fix it. Um, if existing, hold up, what did I do here? Try find item, if existing, blah blah blah. New item. I think I put this in here by accident. I don't think it's supposed to be here. Yeah, it should just update by itself. Oh, if existing item, then we can do this. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, so if that item exists, then we're going to update, and if it doesn't exist, we create. But you shouldn't be using this endpoint that way anyway. Cool. So deleting, you're going to give it an ID, and it's going to remove that category. Cool. So next part, where are we at? Cool. So this is where we're actually going to do all our thinking. So after our router passes us that, it's going to take one of these functions and do something with it. So this is voters. This is all the people who have voted, and we don't want them to vote again. Yeah. So the only issue with that is, what if you wanted to vote for multiple things? Which is troubling. We'd have to put it into this object, but I'm not thinking about that because this is too small. Anyway, so here we have our dummy data. So this is one category. So food is the category, what's the best food, and then you're going to get a bunch of options, and then this is our votes. Cool. Anyway, continuing, find all is very basic. Since we have a map there, we just hand it, we just want to get all the values in that map. And then find one specific. Again, we're just going to give it the key, and it's going to give us the value. And then creation, the user will hand us over this base item, which is an object that we'll find in the body. Cool. We're going to create an ID, and then we're going to give that ID with that new object that we just got. Okay, and if we want to update, we're going to find that ID, and then we're going to fetch that, use that key, grab the value or the position where that is in the map, and then we're going to update the value. Yep. And then if you want to remove it, we're going to grab that ID again, and then we're going to delete that item. Cool. Vote. So this is slightly more complicated. So I wanted to add an additional thing here where it would limit based on time, but time is optional in this situation. So if you wanted to have a vote that ends like on Saturday, that's doable. And yeah, it also, this is where the actual names situation comes into effect. So here we're going to grab the date. We're also going to grab that item, the category of voting that you want to grab. And then here we're going to check the time. So if we don't have start time, that means it doesn't matter in the first place and we can go to actual voting. But if you do have it, then we have to check if it's within the boundaries of start and end. And if it is, then we're going to check if voters.index of has that voter's name. And if it doesn't, it's going to return -1. And then that means new voter, yay! And that person gets to vote once, and then we're going to add their name so they can't vote again. Cool. And the same thing here happens as what we just talked about. Okay, so next, these are just the objects themselves. So this is for the category of voting. So you have the name, all the information. The question mark just means optional. So this gets put into here. So this item will contain our ID, and this whole item will be one object. Now, the next part, we want to turn that object into an array for more usability because that's what we're using in our actual service. So we're going to make key number. So this is more of a map actually. So yeah, so we have a key and there's a value, and we're going to be able to use that as an array. So this is not an object that we're using it like directly. This is more of a body that we're going to be receiving for votes. So we need to know name, option, and ID for when you're voting, and that's about it. And yeah, so that option is going to be option ID. So there's going to be the category ID, and then within that, you're going to need an additional ID, and that's going to let you vote in that item. Cool. So this is the vote item. So this goes within our item interface. So this just contains what you're voting on and how many votes it has. So if you want to look over here, so it's this. So what you're voting on, how many votes it has. And we need that to be able to be some form of array. And that's what we're doing here, just like we did before. Okay, anyway, that's all I got for today. See you around. Bye.